Welcome to Mr. and Mrs. Wrestling.
I'm Steve.
And I'm Mare, and we're breaking down the world of pro wrestling.
From the eyes of a smart fan.
And a casual fan, and everyone in between.
Whether you're a lifelong fan
or just getting into it,
you've got a ringside seat with us. Welcome back to the Mr. and Mrs. Wrestling podcast, the show where we watch way too much wrestling so you don't have to. But if you do, you're definitely our kind of people.
Every week we break down the biggest stories, settle the debates, throw out a few hot takes, and occasionally disagree just enough to make the ride interesting. Think of it as sitting on the couch with your two wrestling-obsessed friends, except we have microphones and somehow convince people to listen.
This week, we've got a packed lineup because AEW is making history with the very first Redemption, live from the legendary Bell Center in Montreal, Quebec, Canada. We'll go match by match, talk predictions, discuss what's at stake, and decide who has the most to gain and the most to lose on one of the biggest nights on AEW's calendar.
Then we're shifting gears to New York City. Saturday night's main event returned to Madison Square Garden, and we'll break down everything that worked, the moments everyone is talking about, and how the show helped shape the road to SummerSlam.
And of course, Monday Night Raw had plenty to unpack. Rivalries are heating up, championship pictures are becoming a whole lot clearer, and every segment felt like another puzzle piece of the SummerSlam puzzle falling into place.
So grab your favorite snack, settle into your favorite chair, and let's talk some wrestling.
This is the Mr. and Mrs. Wrestling podcast. Let's ring the bell.
AEW is heading into brand new territory with the inaugural Redemption pay-per-view.
This will be the first AEW pay-per-view ever held in the month of July, the company's first pay-per-view from Montreal, and the beginning of what could be a major new event on the AEW calendar.
So, with history being made at the Bell Center, it's time to break down the card, the biggest stories, and our predictions for AEW Redemption. I mean, the last two pay-per-views were so big. This one has, some big shoes to fill, don't you think?
Yeah, this is going to be tough. But I think once they've added in like the specialty matches that we're going to talk about here, I think it's really filled out the card, and it's not all the A players you're normally used to seeing on AEW pay-per-views, but their depth is really showing because you're going to have really solid matches.
Okay, so they're going to start the show off with a double chain tag team match. The Bang Bang Gang, so Jay White and Juice Robinson are going up against the Dogs, Clark Connors and David Finlay. This should be something to see.
Yeah, this is probably going to be a really bloody and violent match. This feud goes all the way back to New Japan, where Finlay beat Jay White in the Loser Leaves New Japan match, where Jay White then came to AEW. All of these guys used to be in New Japan, all were in the Bullet Club, so it'll be really interesting, and this is what people have been waiting for, Jay White and David Finlay to really go at it, and Here we are continuing the feud. I'd expect that the Bang Bang Gang's going to probably pick up the win, but I would imagine Gabe Kidd is going to get involved, and maybe someone new joining the faction we could see.
Who?
It could be a number of people. I mean, there's all these free agents that are out, and Tony Khan just said at the media scrum that there's about 7 people that he's bringing on board.
Yeah.
So it could be any number of people. It could be, a Bo Dallas. That would be something different.
Oh, yeah.
Something interesting. Something to spark this feud up a little bit.
Yeah, that would be kind of cool, actually.
The former Joe Gacy, he has a particular violent side. So that could be someone that they pair up with the Dogs.
Yeah.
He's going by Joseph Sawyer now. And he's going to be wrestling at Pro Wrestling Revolver with Jon Moxley, and it's run by Sami Callihan, who's been working backstage at AEW.
Yeah.
So that could make a lot of sense as well. So there's a lot of possibilities, but this is probably going to be a violent, bloody match, and I wouldn't expect Jay White to lose his first big match back.
Yeah, definitely not. Then we're having the AEW International Title #1 Contendership 6-way ladder match. So the Beast Mortos, El Clone, Mike Bailey, Jack Perry, Commander, and Nick Wayne are all going to be in this match. I mean, Nick Wayne, we haven't seen him in a minute.
Yeah, he did a lot of Ring of Honor work. He was in New Japan for a little while as well. It seems like they're finally giving him the AEW bump instead of Ring of Honor. I personally would love to see Mike Bailey get the win here and go on and battle for the international title. But I could definitely see it being Jack Perry.
Yeah.
He just re-signed. He's, technically the biggest name in this match, but I expect this to be really fun. Glad to see the Beast Mortos back after his visa issues.
Yeah.
It would be fun if someone like him picked up the win in this, match. I mean, he would be the most unexpected to pick up the win.
Yeah.
But, he's really talented and, this should be an awesome match. When you add in a chain match and then a ladder match, I mean, you're going high on the gimmicks, but you're also getting, wild car crashes that people are going to love, and it stands out.
I mean, I feel like when it comes to WWE doing these kinds of matches where it's like getting as many guys in the ring as possible so everybody has their moment to shine, it's often not done well. But with AEW, I think it's done better. I think the athleticism is more on point and it is a better showcase for a lot of guys that aren't going to really necessarily be able to have a one-on-one match at this point in time. So I am excited to see those two matches.
Yeah, these guys aren't like your top headliners.
No.
They're middle of the card, early card guys. So it's awesome that they're getting a showcase. And the one thing you can say about AEW is they're going to give it time. They'll get over 20 minutes to, make this something to see.
Then we have the AEW TBS title match. Hikaru Shida, the current reigning champ, is going up against Maya World. Now, Maya World is somebody they've really kind of given a lot of, I mean, not necessarily the top spot, but she's kind of moved up a little bit quickly, you think, since...
Yeah, the last 2 months, they really booked her strong. She was a fill-in for the Owen.
Yeah.
And that started her big run of wins. And it was coming off a tragedy that, she was able to capitalize and, put that at the forefront. And now it's all paying off. And this goes back to a few months ago, when, Maya World and High-End were last-minute fill-ins because, two wrestlers didn't want to, do what they were asked to do.
Yeah.
And now look at it. Now they're being featured on AEW in the main events of those shows.
Yep.
Now they're fighting for singles titles. They were in the Owen tournament. So it just shows you that if you just go with what you're booked for, an opportunity can present itself, and it has. And I fully expect Maya World to pull off the big win here.
That'd be incredible.
And get the win over Shida and continue this hot run. I mean, the crowd is hot for it, and it makes total sense. Even if she's a transitional champion, even if it's a short, run, it's no big deal because it's going to be a huge moment and it's going to catapult her into that next category from just being a tag team, jobber type to an actual real threat in the women's division.
Yeah. Then we have a tag team match, the Young Bucks versus the Death Riders. So the Death Riders this time are going to be Jon Moxley and Will Ospreay. Is this their second tag team match since they wrestled those guys with the long name? The Horseheadville guys or whatever their name was.
Yeah. The Workhorsemen?
Yes.
Yeah, so they're teaming up here. I expect Mox and Ospreay to win this match. I mean, Ospreay's about to headline their biggest show and be, potentially the world champion. Mox is a current singles champion.
Yeah.
And it makes sense. The Young Bucks have said they want the tag titles, but I think there's a bigger match looming that we're going to see in a couple weeks. And obviously that's going to be, Kofi and Austin Creed. I'm not sure what they're going to be called, if they're going to be the New Day or how that'll work. But that's the big money match for the Young Bucks. The tag titles will be there later. But I'd much rather see that match at All In, and I think that would give All In that, final big boost
Yeah.
to get it over 40,000 sold, because they're at like 31.5 right now.
Yeah.
So I'd imagine that they're a little disappointed after the loss, but then they get confronted by Kofi and Austin, and that sets up that feud, and they're off and running.
Yeah. Then we have an AEW World Tag Team title match. Cope and Cage are going up against the Death Riders, so Claudio, Castagnoli, and Pac. So are they going to retain? I mean, why would they lose it now?
Yeah, I don't foresee Cage and Cope losing these titles. This should be a really awesome match. Claudio and Pac are awesome. They always have fantastic matches, great in-ring work, and this is a different type of match than what Cage and Cope have had recently, whether it's
Yeah.
been with FTR or going against the Dogs. This should be fun, and Claudio and Pac, they're actually going to wrestle, and it's going to be a nice change of pace from what we've seen the tag titles in, and should be
Yeah.
fun. I expect Cage and Cope to definitely retain, possibly setting up a match with FTR at All In as a rematch.
Yeah. The next match is probably going to be like a bloodbath, you would think, right? It's no holds barred match with Jericho and Tommaso Ciampa. I mean, they're going to have color here.
I would imagine so. I mean,
You can't have no holds
Ciampa's
barred without
gone
it.
crazy on some Dynamite, so
Yeah.
on pay-per-view here, I would totally expect it. This should be an awesome match. I expect Jericho to pick up the win here and get his win back from Ciampa. So this should be fun, and then setting up Jericho for maybe a title shot at All In to give him a big All In match. But this is a great opportunity for Ciampa, someone who has come over from WWE and, outside of NXT wasn't really much of a thought
Yeah.
in WWE, and has really just like upped himself and shown, what he can do and what he brings.
Yeah.
And people have forgotten, how awesome he is.
Then we have the AEW national title match. Mark Davis, the current champ, is going up against Andrade El Idolo. Thoughts on this match? I always forget who Mark Davis is. Is he the big guy?
Yeah, he used to be Kyle Fletcher's tag team partner in Aussie Open.
I know. I never remembered that they were Aussie Open. I thought that's somebody else from Australia.
Nope, that's Mark Davis. So yeah, this should be an awesome match, and Andrade El Idolo, how he should definitely be the national champ walking out of here. He's had an awesome year in AEW, and he's super over every time he comes out. He's in the best shape. He's been having the best matches. He's got a great catchphrase that people eat up, and he's been going all over. We've seen him at House of Glory. We've seen him in GCW. We've seen him in New Japan. He's probably going to be down at CMLL, at Arena Mexico. He's been at Rev Pro. So, yeah, put it on Andrade, let him tour the world and be the man and make that title even more prestigious. And, Mark Davis has been awesome. I'd like to see him back in his tag team, with Doyle. Doyle and Davis, they were awesome, and, should be a good match.
Then we have the AEW International title match. Kyle Fletcher, the current champ, versus Bandito. This should be a really good match. I mean, Bandito had an incredible match at the last pay-per-view, and Kyle Fletcher is always your favorite, so.
Yeah, I think this is going to be awesome. Similar to when we were at Double or Nothing, it was Bandito and Swerve.
Yeah.
I'd expect Fletcher and Bandito to be awesome. We got a brief glimpse of this on Wednesday in the tag match. And I don't expect Fletcher to lose this match. I expect him to win, potentially setting up a triple threat at All In against Okada and Takeshita.
Yeah.
That would be my guess for the international title. But this should be fun. And this is, this or the world title match is probably my pick for match of the night.
Yeah. Then we have the AEW Women's World Title match, Tekla versus Willow Nightingale. Please, please do not take the title off of Tekla now that I finally love her.
I think this might be the end for Tekla. Yeah, I don't know. I definitely could see it being Willow versus Mercedes at All In
Yeah.
because Mercedes is waiting, and there's that built-in history. Willow's the one that initially beat Mercedes, for the New Japan Strong Women's World title and hurt Mercedes and took her out of action for a while. So it's built in right there. And then you have, Tekla, who I think we could be seeing potentially the debut of Kyrie.
Yeah,
And,
potentially.
coming to the aid of Stardom, who Tekla has waged war with. So you could see that tease there. There's a lot of different ways it could go. And yeah, my pick is definitely Willow. This should be entertaining. It should be fun. Tekla's been awesome all year long. I wouldn't be opposed to her keeping the title. I think whoever wins is going to drop the title to Mercedes at All In
Yeah.
because Mercedes having the title is the one title she's never had.
Yeah.
So I would imagine that's where we're heading. But Willow is the better story of the two.
So I did end up doing some doom scrolling on TikTok. Shout out to Shannon for that idea. And Tekla, the guy was like, "Hey, can I get an autograph?" And she's like, "Sure." And you see her, she's autographing. And you're like, God, what is taking so long? She goes, "Here you go." She hands it to him. It says, "You're a dumb bitch. Love, Tekla." That was cute. Then the final match is going to be the AEW World Title match. Kenny Omega versus Kevin Knight? What?
Yep. So the AEW World Champion versus the TNT Champion. Kevin Knight was promised a world title match from MJF.
They couldn't do this on Dynamite?
Yeah, that's what everybody's saying. They don't understand why it's this match. I personally thought it would have been funner to have Omega versus Moxley here. That would have been a great story leading into the Ospreay match, but I think this will be fun. I think this will be entertaining.
I mean, it's going to be a good match,
Yeah.
but I'm just like shocked right now. Kevin gets to main event?
Yeah, I mean, this is the whole idea. I could also see this leading to, maybe Kevin Knight versus Hangman at the next pay-per-view. I mean, it could be a number of things, but, this should be awesome. And I expect Kenny to win this match. I expect him to go 25 plus minutes in this match.
Of course.
And Kevin Knight's going to go all out. He's going to sell. He's going to jump around the ring. And we know Omega, being world champion, main eventing this show, the first one in Canada. He's from Canada.
Yeah.
We're going to get Kenny Omega at his all-time best.
Right.
So I'm expecting at least a 5-star match here because it's Kenny Omega. And this should be fun. Don Callis will be involved in some fashion, most likely on commentary.
Yeah.
But this should be entertaining. And who knows what could happen? Who knows what we could see? Maybe we get a returning Hangman. Tony has mentioned he'll talk about Swerve after this show. So I'd imagine Swerve's going to be involved in something throughout the night.
Yeah.
Could we get, someone debuting? Maybe Aleister Black returning?
Yeah.
Unlikely, but, a possibility.
Hopefully not.
Yeah. I mean, there's a number of things that could happen, but I expect it to, really jumpstart the build for All In. Like I said, they're at 31,000 plus tickets sold. I'd imagine they're going to get over 40,000 by the end of August. And I think settling some of these feuds, maybe some new debuts, some fresh matchups, we'll see what happens. We've never heard anything about Tony Storm, so, there's always that possibility. So, we could see. But, regardless of, what people are saying about, how this card looks, I expect it to be a normal AEW pay-per-view.
Delivering
4+ hours, awesome matches. I mean, you got a lot of star power here. You're going to have some really good matches. You're going to have some awesome moments. I'd expect some surprises, and, it's on an hour earlier, so we'll see how long it actually goes.
And it's on Saturday?
Sunday.
Oh, so yeah, I'll definitely fall asleep early. I always do.
Yeah, so it's a Sunday show. Pre-show at 6. Show actually starts at 7.
Okay.
So we'll see. Maybe it'll end at 12:30 instead of 1:30 like it's normally been.
Now that we've made our picks for AEW Redemption, it's time to switch gears.
Let's leave Montreal behind and head to the world's most famous arena, because WWE gave us a memorable night, or lack thereof, at Madison Square Garden, Saturday night's main event. We'll break down the biggest matches, the standout moments, and what kind of mattered once the dust settled.
Then we'll follow the ripple effects into Monday Night Raw, where the road to SummerSlam became even more defined. New rivalries took shape, old ones got even more personal, and we'll tell you what has us excited and what still has us asking questions.
Let's get into.
So we started off the night with the WWE Women's Tag Team title match, Fatal Influence, which is Fallon Henley and Lainey Reed with JC Jane, pick up the win against Brie Bella and Paige. This was a title change. The match only went 7 minutes and 14 seconds. I'm not really a fan of either of these teams, but how did you feel about this match?
Yeah, it was to be expected. It was a little harder hitting than I expected. Fatal Influence got a little busted open there, but huge win for them. Getting a tag title win in Madison Square Garden on Saturday night's main event, regardless of anything, it's a big moment. So hats off to them. But the Brie Bella Paige pairing wasn't anything that I was deeply invested in. And it was shown on SmackDown tonight. Nikki Bella came back, so at SummerSlam it's going to be a 3-on-3 women's match. So
yeah,
we'll get to see that.
Then we had a no disqualification match. Danhausen picks up the win against JD McDonough with Dominic Mysterio. This match went 11 minutes and 31 seconds. Now, Danhausen pulled out all the stops, right? He brought out the little people. He brought out the giant person.
Karl Anthony Towns, center for the New York Knicks.
Yep, that's why Danhausen's box was so big.
The theme for this night was New York Knicks. So everything was New York. I would have liked it better if it would have been, Enzo and Cass. I think it would have been funner. But it got the hometown pop for Karl Anthony Towns being there. And Danhausen got the win. They're running strong with Danhausen. They're putting him everywhere.
He is arguably probably the most famous superstar right now in WWE. More than Cody, more than Roman. Like, he is going everywhere all the time.
Yeah, this was, again, another huge win, regardless of what you think. And I haven't been the biggest Danhausen fan, but, you got to give him his due. He's over like crazy, like everybody expected WWE to do. They're pushing him, putting him everywhere. He's on the panels. He's got the action figures. He's on ESPN.
Yeah.
So he's doing his thing. And, I'd expect him eventually to get, some kind of title out of all of this.
Next, you're going to want to check your milk cartons because Bayley's been missing since her singles match against Lyra Valkyria. It did last 10 minutes and 30 seconds. I don't really recall much of this match, but how'd you feel about it, and where the hell is Bayley?
Yeah, so Bayley took the loss, and she got attacked after the fact, and it sure looked like a goodbye Bayley type match. Lyra, say what you will about her, she took a strong shot right to the face and was busted open, and it added to the match a little bit. But this sure seems like Bayley finished up her duties here with WWE. She's been removed from all the promotional stuff moving forward that she was previously advertised for.
Yep.
And word is that everybody expected this to be Bayley's swan song. And she put over Lyra, someone who she had been working with for the last, I would say, year and a half.
Mm-hmm.
And, looks like she's going to be moving on, most likely to AEW, which we've talked about ad nauseum for the last few months.
Mm-hmm.
And her best friend is there. Fresh matchups are there. And she would get to not only wrestle in AEW, but all over the independents. If she wanted to start a school, she could.
Yeah.
All the handcuffs would be off of her being in AEW, and she would have that creative control to really drive her character and get to actually wrestle on a consistent basis in big moments.
Did she get a goodbye Bayley chant?
No, there wasn't anything like that. I don't think anybody really anticipated it. Certainly, if you listen to this podcast, we anticipated it.
Steve's a psychic, if you didn't know. He predicts everything almost always correctly.
We'll see what happens, but it has that feeling. It's been compared to how Ricochet left. Very similar styles where all of a sudden he was just taken out and that was the end.
Yeah. Well, goodbye, Bailey. We'll see you in a couple months. All right, we have a tag team match. CM Punk and Cody Rhodes defeat Gunther and Sami Zayn. This match went for 14 minutes and 8 seconds. Where was I? Did I watch this with you?
I don't know what you were doing.
Was I here? Were the lights on but nobody was home?
Yeah.
Well, I have no thoughts about this match. What do you think?
Yeah, it was a fun match. Nick Aldis got involved.
Oh, I remember that.
It set up what is now the SummerSlam match, Gunther versus Nick Aldis, which we're going to be talking about in a couple weeks in our SummerSlam preview episode. But this was a fun match. Neither of these teams really got along. You could see the Punk and Cody friendship deteriorating right in front of you, and it really picked up steam at the end of the match when Punk threw the title over his shoulder and it hit Cody in the face, and it led to Cody getting upset. And, the next day they had the SummerSlam announcement show. It sure seems like it could be Cody the one turning heel and going to the old school Cody, hopefully, which would be awesome.
So. With Bernard, the business bear?
I don't know if they'll bring back Bernard, but, Cody with the fur and the Rolexes. It would be awesome. Or, Punk could be the natural heel that he is and just be CM Punk. But it looks like Sammy's going to get another chance to get an opportunity to get his title back because he's going to face the winner, the four-way match, and we'll see who gets a title shot from there.
Yeah. All right, moving on to Monday Night Raw. This was a non-title tag team match. The Vision, Austin Theory, and Braun Breaker pick up the win against Dragon Lee and Javon Evans in 9 minutes and 43 seconds. Austin and Braun were accompanied to the ring by Logan Paul and Maxine Dupree. How'd you feel about this match?
Yeah, so this was the all-male Monday Night Raw. Only women in the background, no women's matches throughout the whole night. So very interesting Monday Night Raw booking. This was more what happened after the match with Tozawa and Otis coming to the ring and Otis and Tozawa getting the better of the Vision for a brief moment until Braun took out everybody. Certainly looks like we're going to be getting the Vision versus, Otis and Tozawa at SummerSlam. I think it would have been awesome for Chad Gable to come out and make the save and play hero to his friends that he's been trying to apologize and, get back in their good graces. But it certainly made Theory and Breaker the bad guys.
Definitely. Then we had a singles match. Oba Femi versus JD McDonough was 54 seconds. Now this is coming on the heels of their little backstage segment where they approach Danhausen about the human monies and they're upset. And so then Adam Pearce, they slam the briefcase into Oba Femi, and so Adam Pearce makes Oba and JD go together against each other.
Yeah, so this was, the night of Danhausen. He was in 4 different segments throughout the night.
Dang, we're going to have to call it Rawhausen soon.
Yeah, so, again, he's all over the place. This is just keeping Oba, front and center for the SummerSlam match. The report is that Oba and Brock are going to open SummerSlam night 1.
That's how Brock does it.
With Hell in a Cell. So it'll be interesting. But yeah, no surprise there. JD took, crazy bumps for Oba and the brief 54-second match. But yeah.
Then we had a tag team match. Chad Gable and Penta defeat Ethan Page and Rusev, 8 minutes and 30 seconds. Tell me about this match, babe.
Yeah, so you have the challengers who want the Intercontinental title, Paige and Rusev, and you have the man who's the number one contender teaming up with the Intercontinental champion. So, you get to see Chad Gable and Penta. They're on the same page. They pick up the win, but as soon as the match ends, they're getting in the SummerSlam mode where they know they're going to be on the opposite side of the ring. I think if given the time, that could be the match of the weekend for SummerSlam.
Yeah.
Chad Gable has been awesome. They're really trying to get him over with the crowd with his entrance. I don't know about his music, but it is what it is. But it should be an awesome match. And I love Ethan Page. I think he's been great in WWE and NXT. I know you're not a fan of Rusev, but Rusev playing the big muscle to Ethan Page is working, and it's
Yeah.
making Rusev at least
Likeable again.
yeah, at least a little more tolerable than anything else.
Then we have a singles match. Say his name and he appears. Joe Hendry picks up the win against Dominic Mysterio with Liv Morgan. This went 9 minutes and 21 seconds. So this was not a clean win, right?
Nope. Danhausen was involved again, and he hit the Danhausen death drop on Dominic Mysterio, allowing Hendry to pick up the win. Huge win for Joe Hendry. He's been, battling with the Vision and Logan Paul. He's been teaming up with Danhausen, going against the Judgment Day. So the fact that he's picking up the win over the AAA Mega Champion, that's huge. And, Joe Hendry isn't as over as he was last year at this time, but I think if he gets with the right person and has a good feud, I think it could be entertaining. I think him making fun of Rusev would be awesome.
Yeah.
And, I think once they really get Joe Hendry going and he gets the right song and the right partner, I think it'll be awesome. Similar to when he was in TNA, he was getting over, but like once he started battling against, Matt Cardona, it really got fun. And when Joe Hendry was also battling AJ Francis, it brought out the best in Joe Hendry and showed him as an entertainer.
Yeah.
So I could definitely see that. But we're going to get Dominic Mysterio and Danhausen at SummerSlam.
Wow.
So it'll be interesting, but they even had Io Sky come out and take care of Liv, who was slapping Danhausen around.
Didn't she come out in Danhausen's car with him?
Io?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he went to the back after Liv slapped him because he was not going to strike a woman.
Oh, Danhausen. What a guy. Then we had a singles match. Jacob Fatu picks up the win against LA Knight, in 14 minutes and 16 seconds. I just want LA Knight to get to the top someday, sooner rather than later.
You keep wishing and we'll see what happens. He's always battling with the bloodline. He's the perfect guy to feed to the bloodline. He makes it entertaining without the bloodline having to be there every single week. And, he'll be teaming up with Solo and Royce against Jacob and the Usos.
Okay.
We'll see what happens. I'd imagine, Zilla Fatu being involved in some form or fashion. He's the new Samoan that's going to be debuting soon. And I could definitely see him with Jacob, but I could also see them pairing him with Solo, similar to how they introduced Jacob.
Yeah.
But it'll be interesting. LA Knight should get a shot at Roman, but we'll see if he actually gets it. They're going with Seth right now.
Yeah.
And, LA Knight's not in the title picture at this moment, so we'll see. Yeah, so this was, a lackluster Monday Night Raw. The matches were okay, but nothing spectacular. And like I said, a lot of Danhausen, but not one women's match. That was the shocker here. I don't know why they didn't have at least one. I mean, you could have had Natty, you could have had Maxine in a squash or something.
Maxine's too busy now. She's with the faction.
Yeah.
She can't be in the match.
But I will say I've enjoyed SmackDown more than I've enjoyed Monday Night Raw, and the matches have been better on SmackDown, and it's actually wrestling and less entertainment.
That's
I don't know if that's a Netflix thing, but That's my perspective. But SummerSlam's always fun. We'll eventually get there. It'll be a long few weeks since most of the card's pretty much booked as it is. So we'll see what happens, and we'll see if they jam-pack any celebrities into this last minute. All right, and that's going to do it for this week's episode of the Mr. and Mrs. Wrestling Podcast.
Whether you're counting down the days until AEW Redemption, already looking ahead to SummerSlam, thanks for spending part of your week with us. We love being part of your wrestling routine.
If you enjoyed today's episode, help us grow the show by following us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and subscribing on YouTube. Leaving us a 5-star review and sharing the episode with a fellow wrestling fan. Every share, comment, and review helps us reach more people who love professional wrestling as much as we do.
Don't forget to follow us on social media for breaking wrestling news, episode announcements, live reactions, clips from the show, and updates on our Summer Indie Spotlight interview series featuring some of the best talent from across professional wrestling.
We'll be back next week with more previews, reviews, interviews, and everything happening across WWE, AEW, TNA, and the independent wrestling scene.
Until next time, keep supporting wrestling, keep supporting independent talent, and we'll catch you in the next episode.
Hey there, this is the X-Man, host of the Mix Morning Show on Mix 94.7, as well as commentator and now part owner of 814 Wrestling. You are listening to Mr. and Mrs. Wrestling, the podcast for wrestling fans.
This episode of Mr. and Mrs. Wrestling is powered by W Energy. Listen up, brother. You know, in the squared circle, it's all about having the energy to go the distance. No sugar crashes, no jitters, just clean, focused fuel to keep you going through every promo, every match, and every late-night wrestling binge. That's where W Energy comes in, the ultimate tag team partner for your brain and body, packed with vitamins, antioxidants, and a knockout flavor lineup. W is here to make sure you never gas out before the final bell. No fake stuff, no gimmicks, just pure power. So whether you're cutting promos or cutting down on fatigue, grab a tub of W and unleash your inner champ. Head on over to w.gg and use promo code Mr. and Mrs. to get 10% off your first order. That's w.gg/Mr. and Mrs. Fuel up, throw down, and leave your competition down for the 3 count.